Blog Talk Radio.
The purple angel, oh purple angel, you're next to me. Purple angel, oh purple angel, you're next to me. You're next to me. You're next to me.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Alzheimer Speaks Radio. I'm your host and founder of Alzheimer Speaks, Lori LeBay, and I'm thrilled to be with you today. I'm actually in Illinois, sitting in a hotel. I was so blessed to be speaking at the Rend College here, and just had a great group of people that we tried to shift their perceptions of dementia care and give them a great overall perspective of what's going on worldwide. So it was really a very fun event. So I want to give a big shout out to all my new buds at Rend College there. For those of you that are new to our show, I always like to just give you a little background about Alzheimer Speaks. Basically, we are an advocacy-based company providing multiple platforms to shift dementia care around the world from crisis to comfort. And this whole movement here was started due to my mom's own journey, who juggled life and lived life to its fullest for 30 years with dementia symptoms. She started at my age in her mid-50s and passed away about a year and a half ago at the age of 86. So, I have to thank my mom for sharing her journey because it's totally changed my life and I believe made me a much, much better person. We believe here at Alzheimer Speaks that by joining forces and sharing knowledge and just having these everyday conversations that we have here on Alzheimer Speaks Radio, that we are going to be able to remove the stigmas attached to memory loss. We're going to be able to provide support and insight to those who are dealing with this disease. And we believe every person has the right to continue to live with purpose, no matter what their diagnosis. We know at our core that we're making a huge difference and a big impact out there, and that has to do with all of your help. You see, we were named the #1 influencer online by ShareCare and Dr. Oz, and that didn't happen by us here at Alzheimer Speaks. That happened because of all of our listeners, all of you who follow us on our website, our blog, the radio show here, Dementia Chats. When you like us, when you share our information, you're pushing it out to all of your circles as well. And from there, people are pushing it out to their circles. And that's the way we're really going to, make some change. We're going to put a dent in this thing, getting enough resources and material out there in a positive light that will help people continue to live well with this disease. So please, if you're on the show page right now, please like us and go ahead and push it out to, if it's your Facebook friends, if it's your Google circle, if it is your Twitter tribe, whoever that might be. We would love to have you share with us and just help raise awareness, while you're doing that. Today's show, like all shows, we would encourage you to join the conversation, and you can do that by calling in live at 714-364-4757. Again, that's 714-364-4757. Or you can join us using the chat box. Now, before I introduce our next guest, I have to apologize that I have severe allergies, so my voice doesn't quite sound the same, and I'll be probably slurping down liquids and taking my throat lozenges, getting through whatever is attacking my system at the moment here. So please bear with us because we're going to have a great show with Nashville artist Jill Miller. But before I formally introduce her, I always like to shout out to a few organizations. First, I have to give a shout out to a company that I so admire, and that is Health Star Home Health. They are located in Minnesota and just doing not only fabulous home care, but they are really adding value to shifting our dementia care culture in this country. I am working very closely with them in my town, Pictures, and we're going to be launching a brand new film called His Neighbor Phil the end of this month at the State Fair, and that wouldn't be happening without the assistance of Health Star Home Health on this. I also want to just mention clinical trials because a lot of people want to know, how can we make change? How can we improve things? And from a medical perspective and a pharmaceutical perspective, we all want a cure. But in order to do that, people have to get involved in clinical trials. And you can go to Facebook and just look at the Alzheimer's team, or you can go to my homepage on alzheimerspeaks.com and just click on the graphic that talks about clinical trials. That way you can help reshape treatments for Alzheimer's and help the battle that so many families and friends of yours are going through in terms of dealing with this disease. I would be amiss if I didn't give a shout out to Alzheimer's Disease International. They are the organization of all the Alzheimer's associations around the world. So if you are looking for an association closest to you, you will not only be able to find them, but you'll find a lot of global resources as well. Dementia Action Alliance is a great national organization that is fairly new, and they are really focused on helping those living with dementia and families. And you can go to their website at daanow.org. Many are looking for holistic routes, and for that, I suggest you check out Alzheimer's Research and Prevention Foundation. There you'll find out about, diet and exercise and meditation. And let's see, last is, if you haven't joined the Purple Angel effort, I would highly recommend that you do that as well. That's the new global symbol for dementia, and anybody can utilize that. It costs no money, very little time. Again, go to alzheimerspeaks.com, go to our About page, and from there you'll see a tab on your left-hand side talking about the Purple Angel. Just click on that. You'll be able to get more information. You can shoot me an email from there for that information. So let me go ahead and introduce our guest here. We are so lucky to have Nashville recording artist Jill Miller with us, and she's released 4 CD projects and is working on her 5th, which is going to be a Christmas project entitled King of Kings. So I can't wait to hear this. This woman's got just an exceptional voice and just a wonderful history that she's going to share with us. Watch Me Fly is the latest single release from her previous CD, Grace Finds Wings, and it's receiving airplay on over 1,100 radio stations in the U.S. and Canada. For those of you that don't know Jill, she has opened up for legendary stars like Loretta Lynn, Brian Luttrell. He's part of the Backstreet Boys, and she's performed a duet with a new song and sang the national anthem for President Bush, and 11,000 people when he was in Iowa. So, this gal is making some tracks. She's also performed at the legendary Bluebird Cafe in Nashville, which one of these days I am going to hit that because I cannot wait to go there. Jill is also not only just a singer and songwriter, but she's a keynote speaker at women's retreats across the country, too. And she's written her first book, which was published in November of 2014, called Grace Finds Wings, A Journey in Song. And in April of 2008, Jill was named Siouxland Women of the Year in honor of her volunteer work in the community. Again, Jill Miller is just one of those exceptional people that is just an honor to know. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and pull you into the show, Jill. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Lori. Thanks for having me on.
Well, I'm so excited to have you here. You are involved in talented in so many areas. And so first I want to talk about your book, Grace Finds Wings, a Journey in Song. Can you give us a little background on what is that book about?
Well, I wrote all the songs on my last CD, Grace Finds Wings. And when I sing them out, so many people want to know the stories behind the songs. And I knew I needed to write a book because I've been speaking a lot more, and women kept asking if I had a book. And so it just kind of came naturally that I wrote a book about the stories behind the songs on my latest CD, Grace Finds Wings. And I didn't really know when I went into it that it would be quite as autobiographical as it is, but as songwriters, that is where we draw a lot of our material is from personal experience. So it ended up being a lot of my own experiences plus stories that I've heard along the way, and then it's biblically based. I'm a Christian speaker, so it's got a lot of Bible verses that songs were based off of as well.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Well, that sounds like a great book. Again, for those who are listening, it's called Grace Finds Wings, a Journey in Song. Do you want to share with us, is there one in particular story that stands out to you in that book?
Well, there's a lot of them, actually, because there's the one that would relate really well to what we're talking about is my father's journey through dementia. He had multi-infarct dementia, and I wrote a song through his illness. He ended up living in a care facility the last 4 years of his life. He had no language, no verbal skills at all, and he was just, my mom couldn't care for him anymore in the home, and so he lived in a care facility, and I got to be very close, of course, to everyone at the care facility because he was there for 4 years, and we just got a great relationship. And after he passed away, a couple years later, I've been a singer-songwriter in the area for a while, and the executive director and the development director from the care facility he was at approached me about writing a song for them to use as a commercial for TV and radio. And so I wrote a song, and it went on a previous CD, and they ended up using it for a couple of years, and we started this Christmas show, a benefit concert for them every year at our local Orpheum Theater. It's a beautiful restored theater, seats about 2,500 people, and we started doing a benefit concert for them. Actually, this year will be my 9th year doing this concert for Sunrise, and they've raised over $300,000 and some off the shows. So it's been a great partnership, and so that's how that song, how it came to life is we were getting ready to do another Christmas show, and they were in the middle of a capital campaign called A New Sunrise. And as a songwriter, I'm like, oh, that's a song. I need to write a song for that. So ended up writing them a song, and they're actually still using that song on TV and radio. And so that was kind of the story behind that song and how it came to life. So that's one of the chapters in the book is basically about my dad and our family's journey through Alzheimer's.
Wow, very exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us a little bit about how did you guys find out about your dad having dementia, and how did that all kind of go down with your family?
Well, he had a stroke. My dad had multi-infarct, so it was caused by strokes. He had a major stroke at the age of 63, and he didn't have much paralysis, so we thought everything was going to be okay. He had some limited on one side paralysis, but it all pretty much came back. But mentally, we noticed some major differences after that stroke, especially with his emotions. And then through the years, he just kind of continually started deteriorating, and he would get more and more forgetful. He just had behavior issues that started showing up, and finally we took him to Mayo Clinic, and at that point he had 11 strokes that we didn't know about. You know, we knew about the major one, but he'd had a lot of little other ones, and so it just slowly kind of started happening. Over the next 5 years, he just really diminished in capacity, was not able to drive eventually, started having more emotional highs and lows. And like one time I'll never forget, on Mother's Day, I have a big family. There's 6 children and lots of grandchildren. And when we all get together, it's a house full. And we were at my sister's house, and he just started laughing. And at first we're like, okay, something's funny. And then he just didn't stop. And we ended up having to, take him in. And so things like that started happening, where we'd have episodes that we just didn't know what was going on. And so eventually it led to where, as I said, he had no language, and he started getting violent, and that's why we really had to put him in the care facility, because he had no verbal skills, and so it just became necessary, I guess. It was really hard on my mom to do that. She kept him home absolutely as long as possible. So it was a tough journey, but we're lucky in the fact that all 6 of us kids still live in the same hometown. And so we were able to help Mom and give her the respite care that, she needed while she had him home. And we would all take turns, because he couldn't be left at home alone for probably 2 years before, he had to go to Sunrise. So, that was 24/7 for Mom, and we all kind of took turns going over there and giving her breaks. And yeah, I learned a lot through the process, and just kind of the slow deterioration of his function was, I guess, really, really hard to watch. My dad he was definitely the head of the household, and, just the provider and the rock, and to see him go from that to slowly just deteriorate was really hard on our family, very hard.
Yeah, it's tough stuff. It's tough stuff. Now, I know you wrote a song about your experience with your dad's dementia, called "I Will Remember." Yes. And I'm wondering, I would love to play that for our audience, but I'm wondering if you want to set that up at all first.
Sure. I wrote this song when Dad was still at home with Mom, and I actually had some surgery that I was going to be down for 6 weeks. I wasn't going to be able to lift anything. So I had people that were going to help take care of my kids, and so I was kind of I knew I couldn't just sit around for 6 weeks. I'm kind of a doer and a goer, so I knew I needed something to do, and so I wanted to make a scrapbook for Mom for Christmas, because it was kind of close to Christmas, of Dad, because he was starting to fade so much, and we were, you start to lose the memory of what he was like. And I just thought, I don't want that to happen. I want to remember him, who he was, and, my dad that took us camping and fishing, and, always had a twinkle in his eye, and was just, such a great, strong man. And so I started this scrapbook, and then I started writing this song, and I thought, that would just be awesome to give Mom this scrapbook and this song for Christmas. So I ended up doing both. I recorded the song in a local recording studio to begin with. The one that you're going to hear is one I actually did in Nashville. But for that Christmas, I gave her, kind of a work copy of it. So that's how it came. It all came wanting to give Mom something special for Christmas. And it was, it was a hard time on her. This time obviously was really hard on my mom, and so I wanted to do something special, and that's where the song came from.
Wonderful. Well, let's go ahead and play it, and then we can talk more after that.
Sounds good.
A simple man filled with pride, a loving woman by your side, worn out days were through, hard work was all you knew. A loving father who kept your family near. Time spent together, a treasure I hold dear. Now I watch as your mind is gone, while your body lingers on. And questions grow, I don't understand the wisdom of God's plan. How I long for that twinkle in your eye, and my heart just aches for times gone by. I will remember the man I once knew. I will remember the strength I found in you. Love you held for family, confidence you gave to me. These are written on my heart, and I will remember. I will remember. Gentle hands filled with love, taking time for all of us. In command, but always fair. We knew how much you cared. The words I love you were so hard to say, but you showed us in so many ways. Now you seem so alone and scared as I watch you lying there, and I wonder how you go on with your dignity gone. But there's comfort in heaven above, 'cause God will heal you and surround you with love. And I will remember the man I once knew. I will remember the strength I found in you. Love you held for family and confidence you gave to me. These are written on my heart, and I will remember. I will remember. I will remember. I will remember.
Wow, what a beautiful song, Jill. Absolutely
Oh,
gorgeous.
thank you.
Just
Thank
gorgeous.
you.
What did your
Thank
family
you.
think of the song when you wrote that? They must have just all been in tears.
Oh yeah, we were all bawling. It was a pretty emotional moment, but I just had to claim that I'm not going to remember you this way. I'm going to remember you, healthy and since memory is what was stolen from him, it's like you know what I mean? I'm just like, I will remember you the way you were. And that was my biggest fear, I think, when my dad was sick for 9 years, and I just thought, I'm not going to remember him healthy. You know, I'm not going to remember him anything other than these last years. And, you know, I really do. Right now, he's been gone for 15 years, and I hardly remember him sick anymore, which is just a blessing. I remember the healthy dad that, you know, took me camping and all that. And that's kind of what the song was about, that I just wanted to remember him for who he was.
Well, I love the line in there about, you know, there's comfort in knowing that he'll be healed, you know,
exactly.
in God's love. And then I'm just teary-eyed now talking about it, but the strength you'll find in the confidence he gave you, and how that just kind of sewn into your heart. And it's like, you know, I think for all of us as caregivers, we all have that fear of, will we remember? And
right.
And I think it's important for all of us to know that, you know, that's what memories are for, is to hold on and to keep. And unless we become diseased, there's no reason we shouldn't be able to carry on and keep those memories alive. You know, but there's such great fear in that, and so it's just beautiful that you know, could capture this. I mean, I would love to be able to write a song or sing a song, but I would scare everyone away. You know, that you have the skill and the beauty and the grace to do what you do. It was a very, very moving song, and I'm sure it's just touched so many hearts along the way.
Thank you. Yes, it's you know, I felt really compelled, and it has been amazing how you do get those memories back, and you just want to know that someone else has gone through it and has survived. And I just sang that song I can't remember where I was at a women's retreat somewhere, and I sang that song and talked a bit about my dad, and someone came up afterwards and they were just bawling, and they're like, will I really remember them healthy? And I said, you will. You will remember them healthy again. And I was going to say something, too, about music and how powerful it is, because my dad had, as I said, had no language for the last 4 years of his life, but my sisters and I grew up singing together. There's 5 girls in my family and 1 boy. And we used to go around to nursing homes and churches. We were part of a little variety show, and Dad was our biggest fan. He loved watching us girls sing. And at the end, you know, you tried talking to him, and he couldn't respond, and his eyes were pretty, you know, blank. But every time I would go, I would sing to him. I would sing "How Great Thou Art" or "Amazing Grace" or some old hymn like that. And then he would look at me, and he would, you know, a couple times he tried to sing along even. And it's been really sweet, because I did a little nursing home tour, I want to call it, but I did about 6 nursing homes in May and June. We just thought, let's just go bless some local nursing homes. So we went to some units that had dementia units along with them, and it was really amazing how the music touched people. There was this one woman who her daughter said, she doesn't say much at all, and she doesn't really know anything. Well, I started singing, and she sang the words to almost every song. It was because I tried to do old songs like "You Are My Sunshine" and, you know, old hymns, and I'm amazed at how when nothing else gets through, music does. And I think that's part of what inspired me to write it too. It's like, you know what, that's what got through to my dad to the end, and so I need to write a song about that. So it's just been really powerful.
Yeah, music is. I mean, I know from my mom, she would just light up. And, you know, I don't know if you've seen the movie Alive Inside, or even the short YouTube video, but that just accentuates the power of music. And it just is so beautiful to see this new movie we're launching, His Neighbor Phil. There's a piece of music that kind of winds through the whole thing. And I had people at our memory cafe who, and those are members who have early memory loss and their care partners, and it was fascinating to watch them watch the film, because every time music came on, they all lit up in their chair and they started either singing the words or tapping their fingers or thumping their foot, you know.
Oh, cool.
It was instantly, every single time. And, you know, music is something that I think we all take for granted, because we just, you know, whatever it is we're listening to, it's background music. We don't even realize the power behind it. Something really brings us to tears, like your song, where it touches our heart. Then we're like, wow, that was powerful. But we don't understand the beauty and the power of the presence of music in our daily life, and how it calms us down, how it cheers us up, how it, you know, how it just makes us feel better, feel more connected.
And how it, it breaks those barriers. It really, really does. It breaks those barriers, and it breaks those memory barriers too, I've found. I mean, I am amazed at how it just sparks memories in people suffering with memory loss.
Yep.
It's beautiful. It's really beautiful.
Very much so. Can you tell us, you know, on your journey, what was one of the hardest things that you experienced in terms of just watching your own father with this disease?
Well, I think it was just the slow deterioration. It's like, you know, every time you would go see him, or every time it just felt like it was just one more piece was taken away. And that was just so hard. As I said, my father he wasn't a very tall man. He was like maybe 5'6". You know, we're a short family, but he was, you know, strong, and he built homes, and he was just always so in control, you know, and in charge, and just very confident. And to see him go from that to, you know, to where he ended up with no language, and mom not being able to feed himself and things like that. That was just, to see that one line in it, to see your dignity gone, that was so hard for me, because Dad was a very proud person. I used to remember as a little girl, I would spend time just watching him comb his hair. He used to use, I can't remember what it was, Brill cream or something, that he would get every hair just perfectly combed, you know. And I remember as a little girl watching him in the bathroom. So he was very well kept and just a really handsome guy. And, you know, to go from that to where he ended up was just, I think that was hard. That was the hardest thing. And it just seemed so long. It was like, I just felt like it just went on forever. You know, when you're in the middle of it, it felt like it went on forever. So that was, I think the hardest part for me was just every time I just felt like I lost a little bit more of him, and it was just hard to watch that. And I guess the other hard part was just my mom, how hard it was on her. And that was just, she was so, but I learned a lot through that too. I mean, it was actually a really beautiful lesson. I wrote about that actually in my book, how much I learned from my mother through watching her care for Dad. And I mean, she did absolutely everything she could do to keep him home as long as she did. And she was at that care facility twice a day, or if not 3 times a day. You know, she was true love and devotion in action. And I learned so much from watching her. So that was a beautiful part of it, that bittersweet part of it, that just to see how devoted she was to him to the end. And we still, every Memorial Day, my dad died over Memorial Day weekend, and every Memorial Day to this day, it's 15 years later, we meet for breakfast, all of us kids, and then we go to Dad's grave and we sing to him. Mom just wants that, so we do that every year. And you know, she loves him as much today as she did the day they were married, and so that's just really inspiring to me.
That is. My parents were the same way. You know, my mom had the disease, and my dad was just incredible. Absolutely stepped to the plate, and he really didn't know when I grew up, the guys did the outside work and the women did the inside work. And Dad just, he couldn't boil water, make his toast. His life depended on it, but his wife learned. He cooked and he coordinated events, and I mean, it was amazing.
Right.
What he did, and I said, I would ask him every time, how are you doing? And he's like, this is the least I can do, for all she's, and to have that kind of love, unconditional love, is something that we don't see as often as I'd like to see it out there. And but it's quite profound when it comes, even when my dad had brain cancer, and we knew he was, and they knew their love. And it was just incredible. And we wanted to do it for the 50th, but we didn't think Dad was going to last that long. He didn't.
Uh-huh.
And so we put something together in 2 weeks, and it was so incredible. And she totally understood that they were redoing those. And, it was just beautiful. The things where they just don't remember anything, that is just clear day to them.
Right,
and
right.
It changes from moment to moment. Now, do you have siblings as well, or are you the only child? Or?
No, there's 6 kids in my family, 5 girls and 1 boy.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are you the only singer, or is your whole family pretty musical?
Well, as I said, we grew up singing. That my sisters and I grew up singing, and so I've been the only one who's gone into it full time. My one sister, Barb, sings with me. Like, she's singing on the CD the song that you played. That's her singing harmony, and she travels around with me some when I sing. And she's the only one really that sings now. My other sisters, we do occasionally, like we'll sing for family events or for Mom when she wants us to, but I'm the only one who's gone into it as strongly as I have. I quit my real job 9 or 10 years ago now to do music full time, so it's been kind of a lifelong journey into music.
Okay. I'm just looking at your chat box here too. With us show today.
Laura, you're breaking up. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm in a hotel, so using internet connection, so I don't have a whole lot for that. But we have someone in the chat box who I just wanted to read this comment to you, and her name is Holy Spirit Lady. She says, I look forward to the show today. I was a 10-year caretaker for my mom who had Alzheimer's. She passed away many years ago, and I'm also friends with disabled vets who have early stages of Alzheimer's. She says, as a songwriter, I started writing a song about folks who have Alzheimer's, and I was going to ask Jill a question on that. And Holy Spirit, we'd love to hear what your question is. Feel free to type it in, or you can call in live to the show if you'd like as well at 714-364-4757. That's 714-364-4757. And they had a great relationship. With all this change, though, that had to be really a difficult thing. And I know that you've written a song that kind of comes from your mom's perspective, but can you give us some insight?
Yes, I think you asked how my insight with my mom, and I guess it was really hard for Mom, as I said, because Dad was the provider. Mom stayed home and took care of us kids in the house, and so she had to take on all kinds of different roles when he got sick. But she's a strong woman. She grew up on a farm, and she's a survivor, and she just never wavered in her care for him and doing absolutely everything that could be done for him physically. My dad had Parkinson's too, so that didn't help anything. And so she just really did everything she could. And I don't know if you're going to play this song now. I couldn't hear you very well, but because I had written the one song I will remember from my perspective, and I just wanted to write another song about it because it was just on my heart. And I thought I need to write it from my mom's perspective, because it's one thing for me to lose my father, but, you know, she lost the love of her life, and that's she had a very different experience with it. So that's why I wrote the second song, Wherever You Are.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and play that song, and hopefully our connection will stay strong here.
Okay, I'm sorry. You're kind of cutting out, so I was like, I'm not sure I'm answering the question you asked, but hopefully I did.
No, you were doing fine. So let's see here.
Okay.
what a gorgeous, gorgeous song that was as well. Um, just beautiful, beautiful phrases in that. I loved that you'll always find him here in your heart. I just thought that was just so beautiful, and how he keeps her strong. Their love.
Yep.
Just powerful, powerful words, and just set to just gorgeous music. Very, very nice.
Well, thank you.
We've got a caller
okay.
online. Go ahead and hi, you are live and on the air. We've got a caller from a 412 number. If you want to state your name and ask your question, make a comment.
Yes, my name is Jan. I'm calling from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I did write on the chat room that I had taken care of my mom who had Alzheimer's for 10 years. Now, she had passed many years ago, and I'm taking care of a disabled vet, helping, not as, constantly, but doing a lot with him. And I'm also a journalist and songwriter, and I just wanted to know, I've written a couple songs as a caretaker, and not up to your caliber, because your songs are beautiful and very inspirational, Jill.
Thank you.
I just wondered, I did win a Billboard award in that years ago, but I just wanted to know if you had any advice on how I could get into, maybe writing songs about something like this, or could you ever be a mentor? Or?
Oh, yes. I mentor actually a lot of songwriters. I'm a workshop coordinator for the Nashville Songwriters Association International, NSAI. So I would encourage you to see if I'm sure there's a local chapter. You said Pittsburgh?
Okay. Yes.
I'm sure there's a chapter in Pittsburgh, but if you go to NSAI, it's NashvilleSongwriters.com. They list all the regional workshops for songwriters, and it's just a great way to network with other writers. We do critiques for each other and give each other feedback, and
great.
That kind of thing. Yeah, it's a great organization for writing.
Yeah, I also am part of Taxi. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They you submit songs to that. They made me an honorary member because I interviewed a lot of their people. So I'm also a prayer partner at Cornerstone Television. So I was going to say I can always just email you something if you ever might. Have you ever been on Cornerstone Television? In Wall,
I haven't. That sounds awesome. No, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, that's.
I would love it.
Yeah, I was going to say we're broadcasted through very many countries, and I can give you their website and that. But they're always looking, and oh my goodness, your songs are so inspirational, and you're so professional. Your voice is gorgeous. So, okay, you know what?
Thank you.
Is there a way if I through Facebook maybe I could email you on that about?
Yes, that'd be great.
Okay.
Yeah, or you can go to my website. You can go to my website. It's www.jillmillermusic.com.
Okay.
And you can email me through that.
Okay, that's wonderful. And keep up the great work you're doing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Are you living in Nashville now?
I don't. I live in Iowa still, but I go to Nashville a lot. But I still make my home in Iowa, so.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Not too far
Thanks
away.
again.
I'm not too far from you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for calling in, Jan. Great question, and it sounds like we've made some good connections there. So that's fantastic.
That is. That's awesome.
I didn't know that there were actual former groups for mentoring for songwriters and things. That's great.
There are. Yeah, NSAI is a wonderful, wonderful organization, and they have chapters all across the country. So, yeah, it's a great way to network with other writers and get feedback on songs. And, yeah, it's a great organization.
Okay. And is there a fee for people to belong to that organization? I would imagine there probably is.
There is. It's $200 a year, but with that fee, you get 10 online song critiques, which you could pay up to $50 for just one song critique. So that in itself makes it worth the money. Plus, you get access to all these online videos about songwriting, and some of them are about lyric writing, some of them are about melody, some are about like your PROs, more the business side of songwriting and the publishing side. So there's whatever you're interested in, whatever you need help with, once you're a member, you can access all those videos and find out information and listen to teaching classes about whatever it is that you're struggling with. And you also get one-on-ones, 2 one-on-ones a year with people from NSAI with your membership. So you get a ton of benefits. And then you get to go to those meetings for free.
Wow.
Your local meeting, you get to go free once you're a member of NSAI. Yeah, it's a great place for songwriters to get connected.
Wonderful. Well, that's great information to know. So I'm glad Jan called in and
me too.
was able to ask that question. Now, you also do a lot of speaking and stuff. And can you talk about? Do you speak specifically on dementia at all, or do you speak on songwriting, or do you speak on religion? What do you speak on, Jill?
Kind of all of the above, to be honest.
Okay.
I speak a lot. I do a lot of women's retreats, and those are typically Christian, through a church. And I have a really awesome retreat called Get Real, where I talk about getting real with ourselves, with God, and with others. And it's just about, taking our masks off and not trying to be perfect, all that kind of thing. So that's one of the retreats I do. When I do more secular, like motivational kind of speaking, I have a really fun speech. I mean, I have a bunch of different things, but one is called Writing the Song of Your Life. And we kind of explore, if your life was a song and it was playing on the radio, for everyone to hear, would you want to turn it up or turn it off? Would you like it, or do you need to rewrite it? So basically, how if we don't like how our song or how our life is going, we can rewrite it. So I kind of take that songwriting element into that and talk about tapping into creativity, listening to inspiration, and then taking risks. So that's kind of that speech. But I am actually developing, because I've recently been speaking more about the dementia side. So I actually do that as well and incorporate those songs, incorporate the songs into it. So, yeah, I do have, and that's really been on my heart to get more and more into the Alzheimer and dementia realm. So I'm really trying to work that angle. I'm trying to get some more things lined up there, because that's really where my heart is. I find I do the best when my heart's in it. Like, my children are adopted. I went through infertility, so I love speaking about that. And I went through a divorce 12 years ago now. My first husband left me after 20 years of marriage for a younger woman, the typical scenario. But so anyway, so I love speaking to women that are going through a crisis like that. And dementia is another thing that I love to speak about it when I've been through it, and I can speak from personal experience. So yeah, I really am trying to branch out more and do a whole lot more in the dementia and Alzheimer's areas, and I'd like to really just share how much I've witnessed music, can make such a huge impact in their life, and I'd love to see it used more and more in therapy and things like that. So yeah, I kind of do a variety of things, and I actually do retreats too. If like a church or something has a specific theme they want, I will tailor my speech and my retreat to that theme. And a lot of times I'll write a song to go with it. I love writing like to a theme, so a lot of times I'll write a specific song just for that retreat or whatever. So yeah, it makes it really fun. Having the songwriting is really fun to draw into my speaking, because I don't just speak. Every time I speak, I sing as well. I intermix songs into my speech, so it kind of makes it a little bit more interesting. I even rap in my Get Real speech. I rap just to have fun. It's a pretty fun rap. So, and I sing about menopause. I've written some songs about menopause, and so I like to have fun in my writing, and I'm not always so serious. I like to have fun too. So, I just try to kind of really mix it up and make it interesting and a little bit different than the typical keynote.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
the churches are really struggling with dementia right now, so that would probably be right up your alley. And a lot of them are starting to reach out for more support and looking for different things in order to engage, their parishioners. And
right.
but they're not quite sure how to do that. And and then of course, you've got all the Alzheimer's associations and the various conferences in the area on aging in every state, and
right.
every state is now putting together a dementia plan for NAPA, the National Alzheimer's Plan Act, and so this is just going to be coming more and more to the forefront. And so it's really exciting, very, very exciting times with that. And I love that you work the music into your talks, and you're just very uplifting in terms of, like you said, life is kind of one crisis after another, and the level of what we're in depends on how we're going to react to it usually.
Exactly.
And, in the talk I was doing yesterday, I spoke for 6 hours at Renton College, and one of my themes that I always put through all of my talks, which sounds very similar to yours, is that I always ask the question when I'm up against the wall or when I'm feeling uncomfortable. It's like, what's my lesson? What's my lesson? And then tell people, then you got to shut up and listen. You got to get quiet. You got to stop spinning and do some praying, do some meditation, whatever you do, but just quiet your head, and it will come to you. It will come to you, the answers. And the beautiful lessons wrapped in dementia. I mean, I'm going to have to write a book just on that, because there's so many of them. And it's so fun to talk to people who have been through the experience. And granted, no one would wish the disease on anybody, but, you don't want it to be a waste either. And, one of the ways for it not to be a waste is to let it change your life. Let it make you a better, stronger, a wiser person. And then share that.
Absolutely.
So, kudos to you.
I just spoke at a retreat. Sounds like we say the same thing. I spoke this weekend, and I said, we have to go from asking why me to asking why not me. And then the third step is, okay, God, what are you trying to teach me in this? That's kind of where we have to train ourselves to go. Because our initial response is, why me? And, poor me. And then why not me? Why shouldn't it happen to me? And then what, like you said, what are you trying to teach me in this? What lesson do I need to learn? Or what can I learn from this? So, that's very much the same thing.
Yeah, we all jumped on the rabbit hole.
Yes.
the first place we go, and the last place we should really be, because we spent so much time worrying about things that we can't control and that will never happen, instead of really maximizing what we have before us, right now. And,
exactly. So true. So true.
Well, great. Well, it sounds like you're doing great work. I did want to ask you about the butterfly on the cover of your book. And that's kind of, it seems to be a theme. Can you explain to people why the butterfly?
Yes, I will. It's kind of the key to actually my life right now. As I said earlier, about 12 years ago now, my first husband left me for a younger woman, and we had been married for 20 years, and I had 2 boys who were 9 and 12, and I was very, very devastated. I had no idea. It was totally one of those out of the blue things. And so I was really in a mess of a spot and very devastated. And shortly after this happened, I was out in Colorado for an event for music, which is really interesting because I hadn't really done much with my music up to that point. I was writing songs, but just kind of doing them locally. I'd sing them at my church and stuff. And I was part of a group for 20 years, but it didn't really go beyond that very much. And I had planned to go to this music seminar in the Rockies in Estes Park, Colorado, back in January, and I found this out in July. So 7 months earlier, I'd made these plans, and I found out on a Tuesday, and I was leaving on Saturday. And once I found out, I did not want to go because was pretty much just bawling. I wanted to hole up in my house with my dogs and my kids and not see anybody. And anyway, but I started thinking, I'm going to the mountains, and there's all these mountaintop experiences in the Bible, so I'm sure God's going to tell me exactly what to do with my life. And so I went out there hoping for some big miraculous thing like that to happen. So, because I just didn't know what I was supposed to do, if I was supposed to move on or try to make my marriage work. And, if I ever needed to be doing the right thing, it was then, because I had 2 boys who were going to be affected. And so anyway, I went out to this seminar and didn't see the burning bush or the tablet of stone or Post-it note or, anything I was hoping for. And it was my last day there, and I decided to take off from the seminar and all the writing or all the teaching to go write. And so there was this beautiful mountain brook by where we were staying. And so I went by this brook, and I was up on this big rock, and there were pine trees everywhere. And it was just absolutely beautiful. What I picture heaven to look like was this place. And I was sitting there writing some very depressing songs and crying out to God, what are you doing and what am I supposed to do? And as I was writing, I looked up, and there was this butterfly dancing in the wind right in front of me, this big, beautiful yellow butterfly. And she stayed there for the longest time, and she did not move from right in front of me. And I just sat staring and was absolutely mesmerized by this butterfly. And as I sat staring and watching it, God just spoke so really clearly to my heart. It wasn't like I heard his voice, but it was just this knowing of what he said. And he said, Jill, you are that butterfly, and you're going to be okay, because I'm right here with you. And this peace just passed over me, and I knew I was going to be okay. And throughout the next year, I did go through a divorce. My husband, bottom line, wasn't coming back, and it was a really hard time. But every time I saw a butterfly, it just reminded me that I was going to be okay. God was with me. He was going to get me through whatever. And so that butterfly became a theme then for my ministry. I have a nonprofit actually that I just started called Butterfly Nation, and God's just really built off that. And it really relates to me. It relates to dementia, to all those struggles we have in life, that when we feel overwhelmed, that God is with us. He's going to get us through it. We're going to be okay. He's seen everything that we're going through. He's seen it a million times before, and people have survived it. And I think that's part of what I love about networking like what you're doing. Just as you said, we all just need to know that someone else has been through it, that someone's there with us, and they're going to help us through it. We don't have to do it alone. And so that's really how the butterfly got to be such an important part of my ministry.
Oh, very neat. Neat story.
Yeah.
Well, you're doing just fantastic work, Jill, and you've got a beautiful voice, and I can't even imagine how many people that you touch and the lives that you change and the inspiration that you are. So thank you, and please keep up your work. Before I give people your information, in terms of contacting you, is there anything else that you would like to have our listeners know about you and your work?
Well, I'm really excited. As you said when you started, I'm working on a new CD project, a Christmas project. It's going to be called King of Kings, and it's incredible. It's going to be it's just going to be an incredible project, and just really excited about where God is taking my ministry. I am getting more and more retreats going, and retreats are really where I love to be. So if there's any churches out there that need a retreat, that want to host a retreat, they can just get in touch with me. And we have a whole plan, a schedule, and the committees that you need. We have a template that they can use, and that's really where my heart is, to be at these retreats and really sharing. And in those retreats, I tend to share my father's story as well as the other things we've talked about. But yeah, just really would love the opportunity to come wherever. I travel anywhere, so pretty much haven't been out of the country yet, but anywhere. I would go anywhere, but just really want to get out there and continue to share my songs and my speaking, and the book too. The book has been an amazing journey. I guess when I started into music, I never thought I would be a speaker, number one. And then I
Mm-hmm.
never thought I'd be an author. I didn't think I'd be writing a book, but it's just kind of like where God has just led it all. And so, I guess to leave people with, I would just say, follow your path, whatever that is, and don't be afraid. And when things like dementia and these horrible illnesses get in the way, that, just find a way through them and just bring others along with you because they want to help you. I think I saw that the most through my father's illness, how many people want to help you and are willing to help you. You just have to find them and not be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah, and I think one of the things, too, is that people have to follow their own passion, and so ask for help
Right.
in how you need it. Offer services that really touch your heart, even if it hasn't been
Right.
done before. Who cares?
Right.
And you'll be shocked at the response you get, because everybody, I think, down deep wants to do their own thing. Everybody wants to have passion and purpose in their life, and most
Yes.
they don't. And so when they see somebody following that path, they're just amazed, at how you're doing it, and the risks that you take. And a lot of times people will ask, are you making money? And it's like, money's not everything. And if you
Exactly.
if you do good, you'll be covered. You'll be okay,
Yeah,
and it might take
exactly.
some time. It might, I know when I made my big switch, from selling real estate into all of this, people were like, how can you do that? And I'm like, I've realized I cannot not do this. This is what I was born to do. And there's just a peace that comes with that you can't even explain, and just a sense of a deeper knowing of who you are, and that you actually have an impact, and that you're helping people. It's pretty powerful stuff.
It is. I've lived that out as well. I mean, I got into music in my mid-40s, which is not, the music industry is not looking for people in there, to sign anybody, and it was kind of crazy. And so I agree with you, never say never, because if that's what you're supposed to do, go do it. And there will be a way. There will be a way, absolutely, there will be a way.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that it teaches you when you're willing to take those risks is you realize that you're really not in control, very much like Alzheimer's. And so you kind of have to go with the flow, and doors open that you would never imagine were even there or possible. Or, like you said, all of a sudden you're speaking, you're doing a book. That wasn't on your list. It just came and it flowed, and it feels natural, it feels good, and you're just grateful for the opportunity. And so, recognizing, asking for those doors to come before you in a way you see them, because sometimes that's changing our attitude and our perspective on what it is we're looking for. And then, just opening the door with a smile on your face, going, gosh, it's kind of like Christmas. What's behind this door? And
exactly.
And seeing what's there, it's pretty exciting stuff. I think making those types of moves also, you end up switching your mindset and not focusing on failure, but focusing on moving forward. And I think that that's a trap of society too, is that we are always plussing and minusing everything out, and did we succeed or did we fail? And instead you get in this mode of, at least I tried,
Exactly.
And when I tried, and this is what I've learned, and so now I'm a step closer to perfecting whatever it is I'm supposed to do, and that's a huge shift. And when you do that, people watch you and see that, and they learn from you, because there aren't that many risk takers out there. And
that's true.
And stuff. So, kudos for you, girl. Keep it up. Keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I have a wonderful husband who keeps pushing me. Every time I want to quit, he's like, you're not quitting. So that's awesome. I'm remarried, and he's a wonderful man, and so it's made a huge difference. But it's hard, and there are times when I judge my ministry on you mentioned the financial side, and I haven't made a lot of money, because I've invested back in making CDs is expensive, but it's like, it doesn't matter. It does, like you said, it doesn't matter because I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and that will come. God's providing, and it's all okay. And it's like, it's just, you got to do it because, like, I know if I wasn't, I would be miserable if I didn't continue in music and what I'm doing and the speaking and all of it. I would be miserable because I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So to not do that I would never be happy. So.
Well, and I think, if it all fell into place and you were making big money, you also learn how to do things, on a dime.
Exactly.
Instead of $1,000, and so we learn to become more economical and still be able to have a powerful reach and impact on people, and so that's a huge gift in and of itself. And people will say, well, you can't do it, and then all of a sudden, here's Jill, here's who, whoever. Look at them, how they do that? They weren't supposed to be able to do that.
Exactly. And now, I have a major artist looking at one of my songs, and it's like, whoever would have thought that, and I don't, because in the songwriting world, I really need to live in Nashville. Well, I can't. My husband has a family-owned business, but in spite of all that, I've met, because of just following the path and doing your thing. I don't know if it will happen yet, but, it's a possibility. It's like, who knows? So it's like this could go way farther than you even dream or imagine. So you got to, like you said, just step out in faith and let God do the rest. That's what I feel. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, people can go to your website at jillmillermusic.com. That's jillmillermusic.com. Or they can find you on Facebook as well, and you have a Twitter handle at Jill Miller Music as well. So, thank you so much for sharing your two beautiful songs and your story. And I'm just so excited and glad we were able to connect. And, I just wish you the best. And please keep in touch.
Thanks, Lori. Thanks so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. And best of luck to you and all you're doing as well. Thank you for all you're doing. I really appreciate it.
Oh, great. You have a wonderful weekend. Bye now, Jill.
You too. Thanks. Bye.
For upcoming events, you can take a listen to our radio show, and that'll be every Tuesday. We are going to be changing our time starting next week. We are going to be at 2 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Central, that's noon Mountain Time, and 11 o'clock Pacific Time. So FYI on that. Next Tuesday, we're going to be announcing the new film on dementia, which I cannot wait to tell you about, called His Neighbor Phil. It is the most powerful film I have ever seen on this disease. Very realistic to what families go through. I've previewed this with people living with dementia, with their care partners. We've got some great quotes from some big people in the industry that are just all giving this rave reviews. So I'm looking forward to doing that show next Tuesday. We're also going to be doing Dementia Chat because the radio show is going to be changing from 10 to 1 o'clock Central Time. Dementia Chat is going to be in the morning. So I'll put all of that on the blog and on the website over the weekend here so people have that. I also wanted to just highlight on the blog on August 2nd, I did do a post for Dementia Action Alliance that had their audio from their webinar they did, Living Fully with Dementia, where there were several people with dementia that talked about their particular situation. There's also the recorded dementia chats from the 28th that was really a great and inspiring conversation, as always. And then we had a couple of articles relating to the passing of icon Richard Taylor, who was one of the very first people with dementia whose voice was actually heard all around the world. So again, you can listen to any of our broadcasts just by going to our archives. Our last show we did Living with the Dementia Days with Lori Shearer, plus we had Keeping Up with Your Medications with Pillwright and founder Marianne Andrews, which was a really interesting show as well. So you guys have a great weekend, and we will be chatting to you on Tuesday. Thanks, everybody. Bye now.
Hi, this is Suzanne Newman, host of the Answers for Elders podcast and radio show. We are the North Star that guides you through the complicated journey of senior care with trusted experts in money, law, living solutions, and more. So join us on this station, your favorite podcast channel, or just go to AnswersForElders.com. Meet the Wayshowers who will help your journey go a lot easier.